There's a good chance you aren't familiar with the BYU women's rugby team. However, as you're reminded of their story, you may recall how their Sunday stance captured national attention and handed their national championship hopes to somebody else. True Blue's Brendan Hartigan reports.
You've probably heard of the BYU men's rugby team, but did you know there's a women's team too? This club sport started a few years back, and it consistently has success by just recruiting your run-of-the-mill BYU student. So where exactly do they find these girls willing to play a full contact sport?
One of my friends came up to me and said that they had heard that they were doing some rugby thing, and I was like, what's that? And they just told us that they were looking for athletic girls to come learn how to play.
I didn't know anything about rugby, to be honest. All I knew was that it's tackle, that you gotta tackle people. And I'd always wanted to play a full contact sport, and seemed like the right time to learn. Came out, learned how to play, and I've loved it ever since.
And even though these girls make it sound like playing rugby isn't some out-of-the-ordinary thing, their friends and family members were quite surprised when they found out something they cared about is playing women's rugby.
Their first reaction is like, how are you not dead?
My mom hates it more than anything because she's afraid that I'm going to die or get a brain injury.
My mom isn't a big fan of it. She's afraid that I'll get hurt.
My dad, he was all for it until he found out what it was, and then he's not at all anymore. And all my friends, they don't believe me. They just think they're like, wait, you? Don't you have to be like 300 pounds in Tongan to play that sport? That's probably the reaction 90% of the time.
So no, these girls aren't a bunch of 300-pound Tongans, but you'd think your eyes are deceiving you if you read the final scores of their games this season. The 87-5 beatdown of UVU, the 79-0 thrashing over Utah State, it certainly sounds like their poor opponents played a bunch of beastly rugby players, doesn't it? Well, that's just another day in the office for the undefeated Cougars who like their chances of bringing home a national championship next month.
We are really looking forward to it. We have a lot of good experience, a lot of good players this year. We have an immense amount of talent that I know that we can go and win a national championship.
We have a lot of girls that were All-Americans, played for the United States, under 20 teams. We have a good chance of winning the national championship, and I believe that we're a threat to many teams out there.